What's up guys, Josh Olfert here, back with another video, and today I want to help you out guys. When you're buying those cars, there's some things you gotta know. Today I want to talk about what the car dealerships don't want you to know. Time to think like an investor. So first things first, you guys, I gotta thank you so much. This is awesome. I mean, I've been working all summer on these YouTube videos, trying to just have fun and come up with fun ideas for how we can make finance interesting, but also help you guys save money here and there, help you build wealth. It's really encouraging. It's really awesome to see people actually engaging with this stuff because there are so many places you could go to find this information. There are so many people you could see, and you're choosing to sit down with me and have a discussion and learn a little here and there. So appreciate that a ton. If you guys would love to hear anything new, if there's new concepts you want to hear me talk about, hit me up in those comments. Finance is like, it's a self-development exercise. It's really the ultimate self-development exercise because you have to learn to become a new person when you want to optimize your finances and your wealth. Encourages you to get out of your comfort zone and do all sorts of new things. I want to help you guys through that and talk about that. So leave something in the comments if you want me to talk about a specific topic. And if you want to follow along this journey, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you guys along and talk more and more about these things, you know, as we progress and as we grow. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into talking about how to save money when it's time to buy a car. So let me tell you a story. When I first graduated high school, I needed to find a job because I did not want to go to university, and I also wanted to get into the investment business. I wanted to become an investment advisor really badly, but I didn't have the credentials I needed. There was probably a solid 6 months to a year ahead of me of exams and certifications and networking and trying to find a job and all that stuff that I had to do. And while I was doing that, I had one mentor in the investing business who said, you have to learn how to negotiate and how to sell. That's gonna be a prerequisite to being in this business and doing it successfully. So I thought to myself, okay, what is it that I really like? And what is a big ticket item that I could sell? And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can get a job selling cars. That might be really interesting as an 18-year-old, learning how to negotiate, learning how to, you know, deal with older people and talk about money and all these things. And boy, oh boy, was that ever a eye-opener for me, because I came from a high school that was pretty religious, pretty uptight, very sheltered, I would say. Swearing was taboo. Talking about, you know, girls was taboo. Talking about doing all sorts of fun things like partying, ooh, we don't go there. I went to work at a car dealership and that was absolutely not the case. Everybody there was a party animal. Everybody there cussed like a truck driver. You could tell they were all sharks. They were in it for their own reason. An eat what you kill environment, and they will stomp on you to make sure that they get the car deal instead of you. I mean, do you guys remember that scene in Wolf of Wall Street? Like the opening scene when Leonardo DiCaprio walks onto the trading floor?
Fuck this, shit that, cunt, cock, asshole. I couldn't believe how these guys talk to each other.
Now, Leo was dealing with millions of dollars of stocks. I was selling Nissan Altimas. But it was very much the same sentiment. A lot of people who it appeared had maybe lost their way in life. I had worked with ex-convicts. I had worked with people who were very, you know, open to disclosing their drug use and maybe even dealings. These were the people that I was surrounding myself with right out of this prudish high school that I came out of. It was a big shock. And I learned a ton. Car dealerships are not what they used to be. You know, they're not what they were in the 80s and 90s where they were making tens of thousands of dollars a car and they were ripping people off. You know, with things like the internet, there's a lot more information out there. People can understand much more clearly what a car might actually be worth and if they're getting a good deal or a bad deal. You know, the thing about the car dealership is when you walk in there, you have this feeling like you're just about to get taken advantage of, and it really isn't a great buying process because you walk in and the first person who comes up to you, a salesperson comes and talks to you, and you just already know like, ugh, like this person's gonna they're not gonna show me the real them, they're gonna kind of maybe be lying to me, they're gonna be hiding stuff from me. But you know what? It's equally bad for the sales guy. The salesperson doesn't like it either, right? Every single person who came through that door to talk to me looked at me as if I hated them. And that just wasn't true. Like I saw myself as a pretty polite, nice guy. You know, I wasn't a huge negotiator. I wasn't trying to drive these hard bargains. I just wanted to help people and learn how to sell, really. That was my thing. But every person who walked through that door looked at me with like this disgust, like you're about to screw me. So let's talk about how to actually save money when you go to buy a car. Because, you know, in my dealings with being in a car dealership and then becoming a financial advisor, I've actually helped a ton of my clients buy cars. It's a big life moment when you go and purchase a vehicle. It's a big expense for a lot of people. So I help them through that and I help them navigate that experience. And one thing that I will say, The first thing that I would tell you is this. If you want to go into a car dealership and drive a hard bargain and kind of be a jerk and go bully around a sales guy and walk over to the management and be a hardo and just try to like make a deal happen to save you money and crush the dealership's profits, you're just as bad as the sales guy that you're imagining is trying to rip you off. You are the problem at the end of the day. That's the first things first. I seriously, sincerely believe that the person who's gonna get the best deal on a car is the person who walks in and is friendly and kind and polite. When we had a customer come in, when I was working in sales, we had a customer walk in and they were really kind to me. They were super nice. We would bend over backwards to make sure they had a really good experience and make sure that we could even just get them a deal in the car, make them feel like they were treated well. So one of the things to think about when you're buying a car is you might think you're helping yourself by walking in there and being some crazy hardo jerk, but you're actually just gonna make it way worse. Step one is to be polite. Be a real person, be sincere. Go in there, tell them what you want, and just be honest, because the more you put up that fence, the more you lie. Think about it. You buy a car once every 4 or 5 years, okay? You try to negotiate on a car, twice every decade. These guys do it every single day. Who do you think wins that battle? I think they win that battle 9 times out of 10. So don't try to beat them at their own game. Go in as a really kind person. That's first step. And if you think that's just some wishy-washy rule, I swear, that is huge. It is massive. It really does make a difference. So the next thing you want to think about is this. Like I said before, this isn't the 80s, this isn't the 90s. You have to be honest with yourselves. These cars out on the lot don't have $5,000 of profit in them. They don't even have $3,000 or $2,000 of profit. Sometimes they might. Like if they really stole somebody's car on a trade-in, there might be money in the car. But the reality of the situation is these car dealerships just don't make as much money on the sale as you think they do. So here's what your focus should be. When you go into a car dealership, the focus shouldn't be, how can I drive the hardest bargain and get this price down as much as possible? That's not the priority. The first priority is, how do I avoid getting screwed over by a jerk? How do I avoid coming across one of the bad apples in the industry that is out there to make a lot of money off of me and take advantage of me? Because they do exist. I seriously think they're the exception, not the rule. I do believe that, but they do exist. So how do we avoid that? Well, I think the best strategy to avoid that, what I do when I go and buy cars, is I go to somebody that I actually know and trust, right? This works for anything. Like if you're buying a house, or if you're finding someone to do your investments, or if you're buying a car, there's a mismatch in the competence, right? You are kind of the noob, the person who doesn't know much, and the person selling you knows a lot more, right? So in that situation where there's an imbalance between what each party knows, the salesperson knows a ton and you don't know a lot, you need to find someone you trust. Think about it this way. If I go to a mechanic, right, and they know everything about cars, and they know how the alternator works and the transmission and the engine, and all I really know is that I have a Honda. That's all I really understand. They can pretty much sell me anything if if they're not a trustworthy person, because they can talk at a level that makes me feel so dumb that I kind of just buy what they're doing, right? At a certain point, we can't know everything, so we have to trust people. Finding someone that you trust is literally the easiest way to get a good deal on a car. It is that simple. When I go into a car dealership to buy a car, I don't go and negotiate or think about how much I can get off or beat them up. I literally find one of my clients who works at a dealership that I really like, someone I trust, and we have an understanding, and it's like, hey, we do business together. I'm gonna do good by you and you're gonna do good by me, and neither of us are gonna get screwed, and we're both gonna end up happy. We're both gonna work with each other for a long term, for a long amount of time, right? For me, finding someone you trust is really the easiest way to go into a dealership and walk out with a good experience, and to walk out without having lost money or being taken advantage of. Now, everything I've said so far, go to someone you trust and be really nice. These are kind of these wishy-washy strategies, and they do work, but there are instances, okay, where car dealerships do take advantage of people, okay? There are instances like that. I mean, one of the horror stories I remember is we used to sell this little tiny car, like it was one of those really ultra compact cars you could barely squeeze 4 people into. And I remember knowing a sales guy who was boasting about how he was able to increase the price of that car by $10,000. And by the way, a little side tangent, car salesmen, they talk about their gross. How much gross did you make in that car? So for instance, if you were to sell the car for $10,000 above cost, very rare. You would say, oh, I had 10K of gross, or I had a 10 pay, because car salesmen are paid a percentage of the gross, right? That's why it matters what your gross is. Car salesmen get a percentage of the profit in the vehicle, right? So we had someone take a car that maybe cost $15,000 and juice it up by doing all sorts of strategies in the back end to make that car actually sell for $25,000, $10,000 over. So they would have walked away with a huge percentage of that gross, right? Now, we've also seen scenarios where, oh my goodness, I saw this one couple, so sad. In every car dealership, they have something called the subprime department, and it's where you go when your credit isn't so hot. And I saw a car get financed at 31 or 32%. I think it was 31.99%. So what that means is if they took a 6-year term, that would double the price of the car just in interest, right? So they probably bought a $15,000 to $20,000 car, and at the end of the day, it would have cost them $30,000 to $40,000 just to buy it because of the amount of interest they were being charged on the loan. Crazy stuff. So how do we avoid being that person? How do we avoid being in a position where we get taken advantage of? Well, I'm gonna show you what you need to know when you're buying a car to make sure that you get a fair deal, okay? And it really comes down to this. I'm gonna draw this out just like you're gonna see it at the dealership. Every dealership has some rendition of this system. They'll have some sort of quadrant, and it might not be a quadrant, okay? It might be some other type of diagram or list, but when they present you the deal sheet, you know, you're gonna have gone for the test drive in the car, and they've got you sold on it, and the heated seats, and the heated steering wheel, and it's really beautiful, and the leather's nice, and now they have you emotionally charged up, and you're excited about the car. And now they're gonna present you the numbers, and they're gonna bring you a deal sheet that looks like this. Let's say we have this quadrant. It's gonna say, okay, here is the price, okay, that'll be the top corner. And then they'll talk about, okay, here is the trade-in, if you have some sort of trade. Here is the down payment, right? We always might wanna, there's always gonna be the option to put money down on the car. And then here is your monthly payments, right? This is what the quadrant's gonna look like. And you know, the price of the car might be $25,000. Let's say for now, there's no trade-in. We don't have a trade, so we'll say NA. How much do we put down? Okay, well, let's say for now, we're gonna do a deal where we put $0 down. We're gonna finance the whole car. And then what they're gonna do is they're going to put out the payments. And let's say these payments are gonna be $550 per month. And they're gonna say something here. They're gonna give you a rate. Maybe they're gonna say at 5% OAC. And what that means is on approved credit, okay? One thing you won't see is that they're also in this price area gonna have something say plus taxes, plus fees. So there's a lot going on here, but really, in general, what they're saying is, okay, here's the price of the car, here's the trade-in value, here's what you're putting down, and based on all those factors, here's what your payment is gonna come out to, right? And what the car dealerships do, here it is, okay? What the car dealerships do is they are gonna do everything in their power to make you focus on this number. They want you to negotiate based on the payment, okay? And the reason they want you to negotiate based on the payment is because it makes sense to humans. It makes sense to us. How much am I going to have to pay every month to afford this car? That's really what's going through your mind, right? But let's do a little bit of math and show you where they could be hiding things in this scenario, right? So if we are paying $550 a month, and we're gonna do that for, you know, over here, they may have said, okay, we're gonna do that for a 5-year term, okay? And that's what you're paying for. You're paying $550 a month for 5 years. So if we pay $550 per month, and that's, you know, $6,600 per year, and we do that for 5 years, we're gonna end up paying $33,000. So $33,000 is the total amount of money that we are paying over the course of this entire loan. But you might be looking at this and saying, okay, well, the car's only $25,000. Why am I paying $33,000? Well, there's a few really legitimate things in here. First of all, taxes. You know, where I live, we pay insane taxes. We pay 13%. So, you know, you have $25,000. That's the price of the car. We're gonna pay 13% on that, which brings our total to $28,250, right? So $28,250 is the real amount that the car should be after taxes. But what we're seeing is we are paying 33, okay, and there is 28,250. So that is the amount that we're supposed to be paying, but in reality, we're paying $33,000. So where is that money coming from? It's coming from two areas, okay? The first area it's coming from is in the form of fees, and the second is interest, right? Here is the biggest lesson about buying a car, and if you know how to do this, it's gonna save you a ton of hassle, a ton of time, and a ton of money, and it's knowing how to use a financial calculator, because there are things like interest that we have to incorporate into our calculation. Now, I'll do this really fast, right? Here's the scenario. I'm gonna pull up a financial calculator. 28,250 as the amount that we're financing, okay? Now, the future value, okay, the future value of the vehicle is gonna be, or sorry, of the loan is gonna be $0, because eventually we're gonna pay that loan down to zero. What's our rate? Well, we said it was gonna be 5%, right? In our illustration, we said we're gonna use a 5% interest rate. And how long are we doing that for? Well, we said 5 years. So 5 years times 12 months is 60 months. So 60 months, 5%, and this is the price of the vehicle. So what should our payment really be? Our payment should be $533 per month, right? That's factoring in the interest charge of 5%. So if I go back to here and say, okay, we're actually paying $550 per month when we should really only be paying $533. Why is there a difference? Why is there a $17 a month difference? You know, $17 a month is no small deal over the course of a car loan, because if we have $17 a month times 60 months, that means somewhere in here the dealership's making an extra $1,020, and we're not sure where that's coming from. So if I go back to our illustration, what you'll find, and this is what the dealerships do, this is all of it condensed right into one idea. The dealerships make you focus on the payment of the car so that they can juice up the taxes and the fees and the interest rate. They play with those numbers to fit your car into your budget without actually having to reduce the price of the vehicle. So what is it that you do? First, you go and you use a financial calculator to find out where is there margin that I am not seeing. You know, I'm paying taxes, I'm paying interest, but in addition to that, are there fees I'm not seeing? Are they increasing the interest rate beyond what's reasonable? All sorts of things they can do, but it's about using that financial calculator to find out, you know, if what you're paying is reasonable. All in all, guys, it's about focusing on the total price. If you want to make sure that you're getting a decent deal, or at least you're not getting taken advantage of, you need to request a full breakdown. What am I paying for the car? What am I paying in fees? What am I paying in taxes? And how does all this math play out? Get the manager, get the salesperson to go in front of you and do the numbers in front of you. Because if all you're thinking about is this payment right here, what's gonna happen is they can jig the numbers. They can get smart, they can get crafty behind the scenes, pump up the taxes, pump up the fees, pump up the interest rate higher than it really is, and still fit you within your budget. And before we wrap up, guys, the last thing I will say is a lot of the money in the car dealership, if not most of it, is made in what's called the back office or the finance office, okay? When you're done with that vehicle and you've signed the deal and you're happy and you're excited about your new car, you're gonna get pulled into a finance office where a really great sales guy tries to sell you life insurance and extended warranties and protection packages and undercoating. And a lot of the money in the car dealership is made in the back end. If I'm completely honest, in my experience, the person who actually makes the real money at the car dealerships is the guy in the finance office, or the guy or the gal who's helping you sell all the insurances and the protections and all kind of stuff like that. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If I can recap for you, be kind, go to someone you trust, understand the numbers, get a financial calculator, and be very wary, be very cautious about what you sign up for in the back office. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, hit subscribe, hit like, and turn on those post notifications for more videos just like this one every single week. Until next time.